Oh, I'm doing the intro this week? Okay.
I mean,
So, welcome to Gaming with a Point, the podcast where Gustavo and I converse about different topics dealing with the adult world from a boomer, apparently me, and a zoomer's perspective. We'll also be including some other topics we're passionate about and stuff. But to start off, Gustavo, how was your week?
well, before we say that, I would like to
Oh,
introduce our new guest.
I didn't know
For
if
the
we wanted
first
to
time, we have a
like do
guest.
that. I didn't know if you wanted to do that after our intros to each other,
Let's
so it could
see.
be like, and an amazing individual here.
Let's see. We didn't communicate that part. But Erica, welcome to the show, our very first guest. I am very happy to have you here.
Oh, happy to be here.
So yeah,
um,
my week has been very, very fucking busy. I have been working. Work is going great, by the way. I'm very happy. I will probably be making, and I don't know. I'll be talking about it later, some other episode. But work is going very well. I'm also very, very busy with school, and just usual shit. But this week wasn't too bad. How was your week, Brian?
Uh, it started out okay. So those of you that were here for the podcast yesterday, should know that. Well, not the podcast. The D&D campaign I'm part of with Wiz Wesker. I am dealing with a kidney stone right now, and it kind of took me out of commission overnight. So
That's rough.
I'm feeling a lot better today. I ended up having a really, really rough night, but I'm feeling better today.
Make sure you're drinking a lot of water.
I have been. I've drank nothing but water. I had a little bit of coffee today because I needed my caffeine fix. But
Coffee's still okay. And Erica, how was your week?
it was good. Also very busy. A lot of ups and downs, but I'm glad it's over and a fresh start on Monday. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Honestly, why can't it be like a Saturday every day? Oh my god, my
That's
phone
what
is
I'm
just like,
saying.
please,
because I still
calm the
would
fuck
have to
down.
work at least a couple hours.
Um,
I don't work on Saturdays, Chief.
I work on Saturdays,
Oh, yikes.
but it's
See,
not as
I'm
bad
not.
as a weekday.
Okay. You see, I'm happy that I think on Fridays I won't have to work at all anymore, and that makes me very happy. I used to basically how my job works. I wouldn't know if I work on Fridays and I work at nights, but I wouldn't be told if I'm working on a Friday like until like 12 to 2 p.m.
Mm,
Yeah, so it was kind of rough. But I
yeah,
don't think I'm working on Fridays at all anymore, which is great.
that sounds good.
Yeah. But today's topic, Black Lives Matter. Something very, very important that I've been wanting to talk about, especially because of everything that's happened this year and last year. It's been very, very insane. So
Hmm.
it's something that's been on my mind, and I knew you were the perfect person to talk to about this, Erica. So when I thought about the idea for the podcast, this was also an idea that came up, and you were the first person that came to mind.
Well, thank you. That's an honor.
So I wanted to ask you like about your club and what you do.
Yeah. So, I'm the club president of Ujima, which is,
Congratulations, by the way.
thank you. It was a bit, it was kind of planned, that I would be president, from the ex-president because I was vice president to her. So I kind of knew it was going to happen, but when I, was elected, it was still kind of a little, I will say scary, but it's something that I do deeply care about and enjoy. Um, so yeah, Ujima is the essentially the BSU on our campus. We don't like to call it a Black student union for the simple fact that we support and sustain the Black community on campus. So that's anyone who identifies as Black. A lot of people think we only cater to Black Americans, but that's not the case. If you identify as Black, Ujima is a place for community. And we do a lot of discussing important topics. We do a lot of celebrating, and it's mostly a place to create safety, but also not just safety, but an understanding. We try to create a voice on campus for the voiceless, and yeah, so we do a lot. With COVID, we haven't been able to do much, but
Yeah, I feel that.
yeah,
COVID is stopping literally everything.
yeah,
Yeah, pretty much at this point.
yeah. So
What was the you said voiceless? What's that?
yeah, so Skidmore. Okay. Well, a lot of PWIs or predominantly white institutions
Thank
tend
you for the
to
explanation because I was gonna ask about that too.
yes. Yeah, a lot of PWIs tend to accept students of color into their schools, but don't really create a space for them. Um, so it leaves a lot of, how do I say, it leaves a lot of confusion from students of color of where they can find their community or their space. So we give that voice because the club leaders, including my e-board, um, we speak up when those students feel like they can't speak up or it feels too intimidating to. Because there was also a lot of stuff going on campus, and not even on campus, outside of campus, because we're in Saratoga Springs, upstate New York, which is very, very rich, I should say. Very rich, very privileged, very not a lot of people of color here. And outside of Skidmore, it could be very, very dangerous for students of color. We're even
Oh
considered
wow.
we're Saratoga Springs is considered a sundown town. And if you don't know what that is, a sundown town is a place where historically Black people could not go because when the sun goes down, bad things happen. Um,
Holy shit.
so yeah, we are considered one of the sundown towns. We are on the list, and it is advised for Black people to not um, go out, at least alone, during sundown time. um, and so a lot of things have been happening outside of Skidmore, and Skidmore was just not addressing it. And so my club, and a few other clubs on campus came together and kind of said, like, enough is enough. This has happened too much. Students are scared. They don't want to come back, and something needs to happen. And so we started to talk to our president and, get things out there, because we need to feel safe, and that's point blank. And we weren't feeling that. So we are having meetings with our president, and trying to see what ways we can make that happen.
So you're doing some big fucking shit.
Well, yeah, but not just like me. Obviously, it's like a team effort.
Well, yeah. When I say you in this case, I mean like your team, you and your team. Yeah.
Yeah, I do not want to take all the credit, like, because
No.
trust me,
Yeah.
I do not need all the credit. um, but yeah, that is some of the, like, just a little bit of what we want to do in terms of like the safety aspect of what it means to be in a club. I say sister club, and I might say it a lot because we have different culture clubs on campus. So like Raices is the club for Latinx individuals. AHA is the club for individuals who like come from Africa. And ACA is the Asian Cultural Awareness Club. So there's different like culture clubs, but we call ourselves the sister clubs because we are connected through basically the fact that we're students of color. So that's why we're called sister clubs. So the sister clubs kind of banded together, and we made this like student leadership club where we said like we want to have more meetings with the president. We want to we asked our members, like, what do you want to hear? What do you think the president should know? And with all that being said, we decided to create that club, and we actually got through. And we didn't think we were going to get that far, actually, but we did. And that's something that we are very, very proud of.
That's really amazing, actually, in my opinion, that you guys have, because I think that's an extremely important thing that I think so many people kind of don't truly understand when it comes to stuff like advocacy. Is banding together is the best way to get things changed for the better. So for me, I think it's seeing that you are understanding of that is extremely good. Not that you shouldn't be able to, but the fact that like, how do I word this? The fact that you're doing it, because some people can be prideful when it comes to situations like taking care of your group. I've seen it personally from different situations. So seeing that you guys are banding together to make especially college a better place, because that's where a lot of people first experience the world itself. So yes, Ember. Sorry, my cat decides to only visit when I'm doing the podcast, I swear.
Ember just wants to say hi. And another question I had, how did you get integrated with the club? Like, was it something that you just found and you thought it was interesting, obviously, and you started getting involved, or was it you like got involved like right away, like as like a club officer or something?
Yeah, so I remember when I first visited Skidmore, it was my first time visiting Skidmore. As a I was just accepted into Skidmore. I didn't know if I was coming or not. I was almost sure I was, but I wasn't too sure. So when I went to Discovery Tour, which is what Skidmore has to welcome acceptance students, to get them to come to campus and kind of see it. And we had this segment where we got to see different clubs, and I ran into Ujima, which obviously I was drawn to. You know, these are things that I've always cared about, even in high school. And so I was drawn to it because I was a little nervous about applying to PWIs, because I knew that there would be a lot of misunderstanding, if that makes sense. So I was hesitant. So when I saw this club and I saw like how they interacted with each other and how the members felt about coming, I knew I wanted to be a part of it if I did come to Skidmore. So I did go to Skidmore. I'm here now. And and I got involved my freshman year. But first semester, I was just a member. So I was literally just going to the meetings, just seeing what it was about. And during this time, there was like a weird switch, because once you're on the e-board, you stay on the e-board for a year unless there's some things that need to happen. So there was like, they were going through this weird period of switching presidents and all that fun stuff. And they had a spot open for secretary. And to be secretary, you only needed to be a member for a semester, which I was. So I actually got involved my freshman year. And I became a secretary. And then after that, sophomore year, I moved up to vice presidency. And here I am now. So I've always been involved with Ujima some way, somehow. So yeah, and I don't know, because I jumped right in. And I truly don't know where to go from here, because it's like I don't want to leave it behind senior year, you know. But
I know.
I don't think I can downgrade, you know.
Yeah, I completely understand how you feel right now.
Yeah, so
yeah, I get it.
So we're gonna see what happens.
You know, if anything, if anything, you know, you're always there.
Yeah.
I'm sure if they need something, you'll be able to help out.
Yeah.
That's
And
how I think about it, at least.
yeah, the best part about it too is that like the president kind of gets to like pick the person that they want to mold to like fit
Hmm.
presidency. They obviously have the option to run if they want to, but we get to choose the person that we think like will best fit like the presidency. And I already got my eye on the person.
Oh,
So
there you go. That's
and
what I like
so,
to
you
hear.
know, and I'm obviously going to always be in this person's life because I'm not going to say who it is, but they know who they are.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so yeah.
No, I feel I'm in a bit of a similar situation where, like,
Mhm.
you know, it it's almost time to let it go, but you
Mhm.
don't really want to let it go, and you want to, like, be there to help.
Right.
I'm kind of I understand how you feel. It's the way I just think that, if something happens and you're needed,
Mhm.
you've done enough to show that, you're always there and you care about it, and
Right.
once they need you, they'll reach out for you.
Right.
That's what I like to think, at least.
Yeah. And yeah, I also I in terms of like because I know I said all these things about like what I've done like outside of like, kind of like partnering with other clubs. But the sad part is last semester I really didn't get to do much with the club itself again because of COVID. So I was
Yeah.
only able to have like one or two meetings like virtually. And that kind of broke my heart a little bit because Ujima's a very intimate and very active club.
Mhm.
So the fact that I couldn't even like, invite people into a space where we just talk. And we do like fun things too. Like I remember there was a natural hair kind of event we were having where we just like did trivia about natural hair and we gave out gifts and we it was very special and we couldn't do that. And we're still in COVID and it's Black History Month and
Yeah,
it's
dude.
it's the worst feeling. Like I put out I had my PR now like put out a statement about like Black History Month and I got a full e-board now and it's like we want to do so much but we can't. And we just had a lot going on campus in terms of like just like real sad stuff and we just haven't been able to have anything. And I it breaks my heart, but I also understand. Um, so kind of right now, I'm just like, I want to set a blueprint. So when things do, hopefully, fingers crossed, go back to normal, the next
Eventually.
person can read these like blueprints and see like, okay, this is what they did. This is what we need to do too, or this is what they couldn't do. Let's see if we can do it. Because we have also like our biggest event is like a fashion show and we can't even have it. And it's just
Yeah.
like, what is going on? And we connect through food, we can't eat. And so
Yeah,
so
COVID just fucked like
yeah.
everything.
So it's like honestly, like even though like I'm the president and like, people can come to me and like people have just like reached out to me and things like that. It's like this was honestly the worst time to like talk about like what are we doing in Ujima because it's like honestly
I don't know.
nothing.
We're kind of just we vibing. We doing what we
Yeah,
can.
but that's also why we're doing a lot of this behind the scenes because we have more time to. We have more time to put pressure on our president and like just faculty and staff. And
Yeah,
so,
yeah. I
yeah.
mean, there's. I like to think of it like this. It also gives you an opportunity to really, like, make sure that things internally are also good, because since you
Mhm.
can't really do stuff, like events with, um, like the people in the club, you can make sure that things are working well, like in terms of staff and stuff like that, and it gives you
Yeah,
an opportunity to focus on other things that you usually wouldn't focus on. I guess
right.
is what I'm trying to say. So
Exactly.
pros and cons. mostly cons, but there's things
Yeah,
we can do about it.
yeah.
Mhm.
And like you said, like, it's gonna, like, eventually it's gonna, be over. And I have the people that I want to go on, and I'll just, like, put my 2 cents in.
That's all you
And
need.
maybe I can, like, yeah, relive the moments.
All you need is your 2 cents.
Yeah.
Wait, Erica, are you a senior right now?
I'm a
Hold on.
junior. I'm a
Okay,
junior.
okay. I'm not that far behind. All right,
No, no,
cool,
no.
cool, cool,
Imagine.
cool. Holy shit! I was about to say holy, because I know like people that are my age are like already graduating. I'm like, what the fuck is going
Yeah,
on? What
I'm
am I
not
doing?
that advanced. I recently
I'm,
just changed my major. I'm gonna be here
oh,
until senior year. Maybe if I was
Erica,
still in my old one, I
Erica,
would
you have
graduate.
no clue how much I relate to you right now. I am someone that has changed my major and now I'm planning to go back to a major in so I started off with accounting,
Mhm.
then I went to music, and
Right.
now I'm probably gonna be in business admin. So I'm just like jumping
Mm,
around all over the place.
I feel
So
that.
I completely understand what you're going through right now.
I
That's why I
don't
was
think.
asking, am I that far behind? Are
No,
you
no,
already
no.
a senior?
No, I'm my switch was actually very drastic. I came in deciding I wanted to possibly do biology.
Mm-hmm.
Then I went to neuroscience,
Mm-hmm.
and then I went to sociology.
Oh
And
God.
everyone was like, "What the hell?" Everyone was like, "What the hell?" And
Oh,
I
for
was,
context, by the way, me and Erica, we went to the same high school and we're friends.
yes,
Yeah, I forgot to mention
yeah. Just a side note.
that.
But, yeah, but I surprised myself um, by going from the brain to, like, why do people do things, which is not too much of a jump. But I went from, lab work to, like, field work, and, something that I seen myself doing, and apparently everyone around me did, but I didn't see myself doing it. So it was a kind of like I was the last person to know situation. But listen, I know all about changing majors and just changing what you
Yeah.
want to do.
Yeah.
So don't even, like, feel bad.
So Erica, now I'm gonna ask you a question where I think I already know the answer,
Okay.
but what are you passionate about? I'm pretty sure I already know the answer, but I wanted to ask you anyways.
Well, I'm passionate about a lot. Are we talking, like, academically? Are we talking about life?
Just whatever you feel like talking about.
Well, I've always been passionate about helping people.
Yeah.
Um, I used to say I wasn't a people person, but then when I got here, I realized how much of a people person I am.
Mhm.
I really enjoy people. Weird to say, because some people just aren't worth my time and energy, but I really enjoy helping others, and I think that's why I also went to sociology and why I'm, like, doing the presidency thing.
Yeah, it explains a lot. That's why I wanted to ask you because it explains a lot about why you're doing what you're doing with your club.
Yeah. And I've always wanted to make a space where people are just, comfortable. And I felt the best place to do that was here. And, where basically you can do whatever you want. They'll give you a club for anything. And the fact that one was already in place, and it's a long standing club. So I thought that honestly it was great. But yeah, that's what I'm passionate about. Like, these days, at least, it changes every week.
Every
Um,
week.
but but these days, I'm passionate about people. Don't ask me about, like, career goals or, like, past, because
Oh, that's
I can't
still
tell you.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. I got you. But dude, I did not know Skidmore was like that rough, or at least the
it's
area you were in.
nuts. It's crazy. And I won't even get into the blatant racism and the blatant just problematic behavior that is on campus. I won't even get
Oh
on
yeah,
into that.
yeah. With being in an area like that,
Like
there's definitely gonna be
like
assholes on campus. For
Mm-hmm.
sure.
and the thing is like I don't even have to get into it cuz like it's like and it's
Yeah, yeah.
sad
There.
almost.
Yeah, that's just fucking shitty.
Yeah, I
Like I
agree.
can only imagine. Like with the assholes that are already here, imagine
Mhm.
in the area that you're in. Oh my god, I can't.
Mhm. Yeah.
I'm not the type of person to fight, but being where you're at, I would be throwing hands.
Listen. I I'm on a tuition. I'm on a scholarship. So I can't
So there's only so much you
I,
can do. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, you gotta be careful. Save that money.
Right. And also
College
like
be expensive.
the worst thing is like even if I was to get angry, they'll just call me the angry black girl. So I'm not doing that. I can't do it. Even if I were
Yeah.
to be like even if I was as passionate as I am like right now. Like right now I guess I'm like kind of happy. But like if I was like this if I had this amount of energy but like in a very kind of like
Negative way.
angered or annoyed sense. Yeah, I'd be seen as like, wow, why is she it's not that deep, it's not that serious. But you're hanging like not hanging, but like putting stickers around like with swastikas and shit. And it's like
Mm-hmm.
and you're telling me I can't be angry without like, it being because I'm black or some shit like you know what I'm saying? Sorry, am I allowed to curse?
Yeah, yeah. You're good.
Yeah,
You're good.
you're
You're good.
good. You're perfectly fine.
You don't have to hold back literally anything. You're fine.
Okay. But yeah, it's like, you know, I I don't even know. I and I live in the apartments now, so I don't really see what's going on campus.
Mm-hmm.
But I hear things, and I'm just like, sometimes I'm just like, I'm so glad I wasn't there, or like, I'm so glad that I didn't witness that because I don't
Yeah.
even know like what
If you
I
could
would have
do
done.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm
So
surprised I haven't gotten in a fight in so long. But I don't know if I were to go there, it'd be a problem.
Skidmore is definitely something. Like I'm gonna give you like a calm snippet of like a something I experienced this week. And it's like okay, so like there's like the clubs and like I remember I told you like you can create a club based on anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Apparently, some some conservative in a
Oh.
nice
Ooh.
way people decided that they didn't have a voice on campus.
Oh my god.
And so they created a club and basically to quote unquote give a voice to opinions that may not be seen as popular. So basically, they just want to be in a space where they can be openly racist. And
Yeah.
And the school just let that happen.
the school was like, okay, but because it's like
God fucking damn.
the funny thing is because there is a Skidmore Republican Club, so it's like we're not new to like things where people have said some like real messy stuff. Like it's
That they
not
shouldn't be saying. Yeah.
yeah, it's not something that's like brand new. But this
Mm-hmm.
club in particular
Is
was
new.
based on an incident that was about a white individual bringing harm to an Asian individual. And I won't go into it, but this club was created on the basis of that, and this person felt like this guy who a bit like brought harm to this person should have a side or should have a voice, you know.
What?
Yeah. And so they created this club because they believe that white people are oppressed on this campus. Like they truly believe that. And
Yikes.
that was just
That-
this week. That was just this week alone. And we
this week. Oh my
just started.
god.
Just started. And now the club is seeing if they can get approved because they're technically not approved. But
Okay, so
all
that's at
like,
least somewhat good.
well, like, here's the thing. They have a charter, and a charter is something that all clubs that want to start, have to be
Have to
approved
have.
based on the charter. And they have it matches everything a club is supposed to have. So technically, if they don't approve it, it's bias.
Oh my god.
They could
And
also.
That's just bullshit.
So I'm gonna play devil's advocate for the school, not for the club. The club should not exist. Period. They might go with the excuse for closing down this club with the idea of, well, what is your point? Are you going to continue to spread hate and harm to other individuals? That might be their argument on, yeah, you're not going to be able to be a club because you are going to sow more division. That's where I hope the school goes with it, because that would be my answer. That's might not be what they answer, but that's what I would hope they answer.
Yeah, I'll keep you updated, cause
yeah. Let me know that. That's fucking insane.
And because the truth is, like, I would hope they say that, but also the truth is, we really don't know what this club is going to talk about, and we can't say on the basis of bringing harm because the club was created after the incident. So we can't really blame that incident on them because it was created after. So,
but if it's created in response, you could probably argue that.
True, and that's what I'm praying. I'm hoping, and I'm hoping that they just go in there to confirm the club and make a fool out of themselves, and they just say no, we're not having this. But if they go in there with some solid points, we might have a club on campus that, and we can of course report them, but that would take us sitting through meetings of this club that is kind of spreading misinformation. And I know, I've seen people that I know join their social media, and I have a professor that I'm in a class with that follows their social media.
No.
And I have to look at this professor every time I have class and understand that he supports this club. And even if he's against it, he's following them. He allows them to follow him. And I don't think that's a sign that he's against it,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a sociology major. So my sociology professor is following this club. And, it's wild. It's some wild stuff going on here.
Yeah, just a tad. So I was super happy when Gustavo brought up he wanted to do this because spoiler alert, I'm white, but the reason I am very advocated towards this is, one, I'm former military, so a lot of the individuals I served with were black, and one of my biggest mentors was, and I don't know where I'd be without him. Great dude. But most importantly, my nephew is. And I cannot imagine, because I actually got in this argument with my dad and my stepmother, who are my nephew's grandparents, because it's my stepsister's son. I got in the argument with them because my dad is very pro-Republican, pro-Trump, and I called him out on it. I'm like, so you are telling me that if something happened to your nephew, to your nephew's father, you would not be out here rioting? He's like, no, I would be. I'm like, then why do you not see why these people are doing it?
Right.
And that was my biggest argument to him. And I think that's kind of when he started to hopefully understand where I come from, why I'm so advocated towards Black Lives Matter and against the former administration we have. So, for me, it very much comes down to, I come from that which Black Lives Matter fight against. I grew up in a household that was very white, pretty racist and stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm very much somebody who I want to use what I have and change the world for the better.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Right.
where I've always come from. And that's why when Gustavo brought this up, I wanted to very much do this.
Mm-hmm.
See, for me, Black Lives Matter. It's not really about black people and stuff like that. It's just trying to find equality, because
Mm-hmm.
we're obvious. There's obviously not equality. No matter how many
Exactly.
times people are gonna say,
Mm-hmm.
and like it's been in the past, it's obviously not the same. There's a lot more things that people of color have to worry about that other people don't have to worry about, and
Right.
it's to the point where it's like you have to be concerned about your own safety, your own human rights, and that's
Mm-hmm.
like something that people don't shouldn't need to think about. Like, I shouldn't need to be careful of how I talk to someone, or what I do, what I'm wearing,
Mm-hmm.
and shit like that. That shouldn't be something that I have to be cautious of just because of the
Right.
way I look. It's not about a like trying to have one person be better than the other. It's really just trying to be human.
Right.
That's
Agreed.
literally it.
Yeah.
And the fact that
And
shit like this is taking so long just to find some equality is fucking insane.
mm-hmm. And that's the I think that's the saddest part. Because for me, like, I'll probably say that I'm a sociology major at least 30 more times. But being a sociology major, it's kind of like studying these things, and like, because once we study these things, we study the patterns of like what they're creating, like the basis of it. And one class that I took, we were understanding why a lot of Trump supporters, don't support Black Lives Matter, or even people who don't support Black Lives Matter. Like, what's their deal, basically? And it's a very complicated thing because there's something called colorblind racism, which is literally people don't understand or cannot comprehend that a lot of their thought processes are racist. So instead, because they can't comprehend it and because they refuse to kind of like see it as such, they will deny it. And that denial only makes things worse. Because there have been Trump supporters who like said, "Oh, Trump's not racist." And it's like, are you
I
seeing what I'm
genuinely tried
seeing?
not to laugh there.
Like,
Yeah.
are you
Okay.
seeing what I'm seeing right now? Like, are we looking at the same person? And it's because people are literally like, they cannot see or they cannot comprehend themselves because they only see racism as slavery. And that's a very true fact. It's a very weird fact because you don't see racism as just like, Jim Crow or slavery, but they only see racism as that. So when I say, okay, mass incarceration is a big problem, or police brutality is very, very real against Black Americans, and they say, no, because it happens to more white people. Well, yeah, if you look at America, it's like
Yeah.
73% white people. Of course, it's going to happen more, but
Yeah.
it's the
It's
rate at which it
simple fucking math.
happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the rate at which it happens to Black Americans. Like, there's no reason that, according to the census, Black Americans make up about 14% of the population. There's no reason that they should go to jail at a higher rate than white Americans. It makes no sense. And they can't see that. And it's a very real thing. And because they don't know how to comprehend it, they don't know how to process and they keep ignoring it, they just get worse because they're like, I'm not racist. I help all the time. But Black Lives Matter is racist because they feel like in America everyone should be included. And they don't see these things like how badly they're affecting Black people. And it's it's so weird to us because we can see it, we can understand it, but for them it's very, very hard. And it's all about how do we get people to kind of unsee that? How do we take like these people who think that nothing is going on, and how can we just fix them? And the short answer is you can't.
Yeah.
And they're going to continue to teach their kids this, and their kids are going to continue to teach their kids this. And I truly, truly, wholeheartedly believe that there will not be an America without some form of racism or internalized prejudice. And that's just a little bit of what we're like studying in sociology, because it's so simple that racism is so rooted into what it means to be an American. And it's a sad fact, and it's a very weird and very kind of unreal fact, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
You see, something like slavery was so fucking impactful and like such a big thing that
Mhm.
it's something that I don't think, like with racism, it's just always gonna be there, sadly.
Mhm.
And it, since it's like let's see, how do I phrase this? Hmm. I'm trying to make sure, you know, I'm not saying gibberish.
No, you're fine.
Well, what I'll
It's
say
just
is, go ahead, Gustavo.
sure. No, continue. Give me time to
What
think.
I'll say is, what pisses me off is the fact that so many people act like it's such a long time ago. The civil
Yeah,
rights
it
movement
really
wasn't even that long ago. Betty
Mhm.
White lived through that.
Mhm.
Like, do people not understand that that's a huge part of what we're still dealing with?
Mhm.
Is it's not that far away, and that's why when people say, "Oh, it was years ago," it really wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
Oh
I
my god, when people say that they've already gotten compensation for it, that's so fucking stupid.
not true.
It's so fucking stupid.
And you know, two things about that. Like two things about the points y'all both just made. One, just putting it into perspective. I'm going to use my example. My father is in his 60s right now. My father's not okay, my grandfather, my father's his father was a sharecropper. He did not know how to read. And that's, in my case, 4 generations back. And I recently lost my grandfather, maybe in 2016. And that just goes to show you like how much of how much of it like Black Americans can remember. And the fact that like my grandfather, you know, experienced his father as a sharecropper, a Black person who did not know how to read because of slavery. And I think people don't understand that a lot. Like people don't get that. They can't grasp that because they think, oh, slavery was so long ago. No, it wasn't. It was right there. And then not only that, but there was another point that was made about, I think Gustavo, you made it. It was
Maybe.
about, it was the second point. Not the
uh,
time thing. But it was a point. You know what? It's out here.
I talk and I forget what I talk about, so
Me
I
too.
If anybody in
feel bad,
chat
but
can remember what it is.
Yeah. I don't know, because it was like the time thing, and it was something else. But I had a point for both of them.
compensation.
Compensation.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't get anything. Um.
No, not at all.
And they say like, oh well, the affirmative action. Plot twist: the affirmative action actually benefits white women more than it does people of color. And that's not me just saying some like random stuff. Like look it up. Like it is a actual fact. Like look up who affirmative action actually benefits. It's not mostly Black Americans. It's mostly white women.
At this point, whenever they add something that's supposed to help, it just helps them. It
Mhm.
really doesn't do shit.
Mhm.
Because at the end of the day, they honestly don't want to change anything. And that's
It's
just
true.
how it's always been.
Yeah.
I agree 100% with that. I think that's why, like, the funny thing is so many people talk about, like, with Biden winning presidency, oh, things are going to change. No, they're going to go back to the status quo. Things aren't going to
Mhm.
change. That's the
Mhm.
problem. I think that's where my issue is. A lot of people saying, "Oh, Biden's gonna fix everything." No, he's gonna fix what Trump messed up and put us back to the basics. Maybe.
Exactly.
If that
And
even, let's be real.
If even.
Yeah. I don't think we can
We
move
go back.
forward.
I don't
I
think
don't
we can
think we
go.
can move forward.
Yeah, I don't
Um,
think so right now either. I think
mm,
Trump kind of very much broke the country and let the sewage that was filtering underneath build up to the surface, and I don't
Yeah,
think
give him a lot of confidence.
exactly. I think until that sewage is completely removed, we're gonna be in a very bad place for a very
agree.
long time.
I agree 100%.
And it's just so fucking shitty that we really have to go through this shit every fucking day. This is something that affects people every fucking day. Like, it's not just an occasional thing. No, it's every fucking day. There's one thing that they have to worry about at least, on top of just the regular bullshit that they have to deal with.
Which actually
This is
brings up
fucking insane.
the recent issue that came up. I'm assuming both of you probably know about the girl in Rochester. Which, for those of you in chat that don't know, there was a young black girl that was handcuffed and pepper sprayed by a cop. Originally, when the article came out, they did not give her coloration. They did not give her race. Nothing. When they finally did, I'm surprised people did not completely go off the way they have other times. I'm very surprised at that. Because it upset me. No matter what her race had been, the fact that a 9-year-old got pepper sprayed is disgusting.
Yeah.
The fact that this is happening again and again, and that people still think of it as not a big deal, is a problem.
Yeah. And also, a big factor that probably played in it, which a lot of people don't want to talk about, is the fact that she was a young black woman and not a young black man. And it's kind of sad to think about, but when, like, for example, when everything was happening with like the protest around like March,
Yeah, that's something I also wanted to talk about.
yeah, like, and people were outraged, rightfully so. I was outraged, I was pissed, I was angry, I was sad. There was a lot of things that went through me during those moments, but something that
Rightfully
really
so.
something that really kind of I guess grabbed me was the fact that so many people were like rallying for George Floyd, but not that many for Breonna Taylor. And a lot of it was performative, even when it was like for Breonna Taylor, you know? There were like all these publications, there was these media things and like all this other stuff, but you know, nothing really happened. And you know, she was forgotten.
Yeah.
Sadly. And I'm not laughing because I'm happy about this. I'm laughing
No.
because like
Yeah.
it's how I cope. It's very weird. But I feel like a lot of what the reason a lot it wasn't covered was because she was probably a young black girl. If it was a young black boy, I hate to say it, but there would have been so much more. And it's primarily because a lot of people don't believe that young black girls or even black women get targeted as much as black men. And it's something that um, black people and like as a community have to really like rethink, because it happens every day to black women too, you know? And we kind of forget about black women. So yeah, just a little side note there.
Yeah, it kind of felt like the public stuff in regards to Breonna Taylor were just done just to like show face, and then the things
Mhm.
that were actually being done that were actually helpful
Mhm.
pretty much just got shut down right away.
Yeah.
That's pretty much how I
Like,
felt.
yeah, it was all so performative, and it devastated me because there were people that I knew that were close to me who were saying things like, well, kind of like making excuses for why she wasn't being covered as much. And when she was, it was just like, kind of like, okay, we did it to shut y'all up. And I think, and another thing that got me was, I don't even remember his name, and truly I don't want to remember his name, but like the person who was in charge and like could have gotten Breonna Taylor justice was a black man. Yeah, he spoke at a Trump rally and everything, but I truly wonder if Breonna Taylor was a man, would he have felt more kind of like compelled to charge the cop, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it's a lot. I feel like that's a whole nother conversation though.
Yeah.
And
I
I don't
think
want to go too off track, but yeah.
I 100% agree with you on that fact. Is it did very much feel like she kind of got, I hate to even say it, kind of swept under the rug,
Mhm.
which is really sad because the tragedy that really came of it was the unlawful loss of life that made no
Mhm.
sense. There was no reason for that to need to happen.
Mhm.
And
To this day, she still hasn't gotten any justice, right?
Nope.
nope.
In fact, I think some of the cops are still working. Some of the cops have their
Yeah,
jobs still.
that's fucking
Yep.
insane.
And the only charges were for the bullets that missed,
Mhm.
which is the truly disgusting thing,
Yes.
in my
And I
opinion.
think the biggest part of that, something that should have, it wasn't talked about enough, and it was because it was the police report that they made for the night that it happened. It basically said there was one no force entry, which I don't know why they lied about because they had the no knock warrant. So even if it was a forced entry, it should have been legal, right? And then they also said that no one was injured in the police report that they made about the night. So not only did they lie on the police report, when Breonna Taylor's mother went down to the station, they asked, "Oh, do you know if your daughter may have had any enemies?" They tried to take it away from themselves.
Holy fuck.
And then when they got caught in this lie, they still got off. I feel like even if they didn't care about Breonna Taylor, which I feel like she deserves so much more, it's the simple fact that those cops should have been, convicted for lying.
Agreed. They should
Like
have been held accountable. Period.
just for lying. Even if you could look me in the face and say, it was a mistake, big deal, which I hope nobody would, but
Right?
they need to be charged for lying. Like there needs to be something done, and I don't even know who to go to, because it's like if you can't go to the people who would get them for lying because they let them go, who do you go to?
100%
It's
agree.
really hard to believe in a system when you're constantly seeing bullshit like this. Really, really
Mhm.
fucking hard.
Yeah.
Like, if you're seeing all this shit, how are you supposed to like actually feel safe? How are you supposed to actually feel like, you know, you want to actually legitimately live here?
Mhm.
It's just bullshit everywhere.
Yeah.
That's actually something like, still living in the country is actually something like that I've honestly thought about, is like, do I still want to be here even? Which is,
Mhm.
like, usually I make it as a joke, but
Mhm.
lately it gets less and less like a joke because it's starting to feel
Yeah.
like, do I want to raise my kids here? Do I want to have a family in this country that is so messed up.
It's
it's just so much shitty
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
But the protests were mentioned, and that was something that I wanted to talk about. Especially with the whole fucking undercover cop shit, and like it looking very, very specifically like the cops were trying to start the violence, and it, even though everything was peaceful, lots and lots of fucking sus shit going on.
Yeah.
I personally didn't go to any of the protests because, you know, strict parents, even though I'm a big boy. But yeah, I wasn't able to see anything but like myself. But from all the things that I have seen online and what I've heard, and like the pictures that I've seen and shit, it's so much fucking bullshit. Like, if you know there's gonna be a protest there in a specific place, right? And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you just see a whole bunch of bricks piling up right next to the place that the protest was supposed to be in. Come on.
Yeah, exactly.
How can you think that that's not like planned? That can't be just a huge fucking coincidence. That's so fucking stupid.
Yeah.
That shit really pisses me off because I've seen videos of all the pros. Oh, and of course, you know, when there is a peaceful one, no one shares anything.
Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah, no one talks about it. No one shares anything. No media coverage whatsoever. But as soon as it's like something violent, no matter whose fault it was, oh, it right away gets posted. Right away. So much fucking bullshit.
And the best part about that is that during the protest, when all this like, sorry, there's something crazy going on in my apartment. With with all this like supposedly violence and things like that happening, a lot of it was placed directly on the protesters.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah.
Even and when you saw in the videos, like when like these police were like tear gassing and like doing all this fucked up shit to the protesters, there was still the assumption that the protesters should not have fought back. Or there was like kind of this idea that, oh well, if they want equality and peace, why are they fighting the law? Why are they doing this? Because look at what the law is doing. Like, look at what they're doing to people. Like shooting them with rubber bullets, like they didn't use like rubber bullets correctly. Like you're supposed to shoot it at the ground and it's supposed to, you know, like go like so it wouldn't hit. Like they were directly like at a very illegal range to like, you know, and hurt people, you know. And it was frustrating. It was gross. And then like for them to say like, this is what you're supporting, this is Black Lives Matter. But you have to remember that law enforcement needed people to be on their side. So they needed people to see protesters as the bad guys. And that's why they had the bricks, and that's why they had people undercover starting the looting. And that's why they had all this, you know, these little fun things, because the more people who believe that Black people or Black protesters were violent and they needed to be controlled and needed to be stopped, then it proves their point. If you were to like look at any news outlet from anywhere in the world besides America, you would see these protesters as like, you know, bad people. And they wanted it that way because now all these people are saying, okay, well, you know, they can be angry, but like, you know, why do they have to go rob a Target? Like, are you kidding me? You know, Target is not gonna miss it.
Yeah, they're not gonna even be close to having a dent in the damage.
Like, and you're acting like you don't have a Target 3 miles down. Come on. And it's frustrating because they were comparing Target. Like, I know a lot of people have heard this, but like, you can't compare a Target to a human life. And when you think about like all this stuff that's happened and continues to happen, like, and people understand like why people get angry and why people like when like a person's team loses, they go and they destroy cars and all this other stuff, and people are like, well, they're passionate, right? But they look at black people as like evil, and
Mm-hmm.
that's because it's easier to see black individuals as these monsters than to see them as people. Because if you start to see them as people, then you have to treat them as such. Like, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, does that make
Yeah.
sense? Like,
No,
when you
it does. It
start to
does.
see, like, if America was to, like, start to see black people as, like, citizens, like, even just citizens in general, they will have to start treating them as such. And that's not something America's ready for. And it's sad because it's like, you should be treated like, I feel like I should be treated like a human. I don't think I'm anything else. But it's so draining trying to get the place that you're from to understand that you cannot be treated as just anything. And I don't know how to put it simpler than that.
Yeah.
And I feel like violence, or like, even not just violence, but like people reacting to that kind of like, I'm not being listened to. Like, even when you feel like you're being ignored, right? In a room, and you feel like you're being ignored, but you really, really need something to say, you're gonna speak over everyone. And eventually you just might start fucking yelling. So it's like, you know, black people have been through a lot. And it's kind of like they are past the point of like yelling. So like, if I'm in this room and no one is like listening to me, I'm gonna start throwing shit. I need you to pay attention to me. Like, I have something to say. But a
And
lot
you
of
gotta
people don't
also
understand
think.
that.
You gotta also think of how long they've been.
Mhm.
Even
Rough.
to this day, they're still doing shit to try to get their own voice out. And
Mhm.
eventually, if you've tried literally everything peaceful and it
Mhm.
hasn't worked, what
Mhm.
other options do you have left?
Mhm.
If
It's
everything
like,
that's peaceful isn't working.
and it's like, even though it wasn't like a grand change, there was some things that got some things going, like directly after the protest. Because once you, like, truly, once you start messing shit up, they're like, okay,
Yeah.
okay, wait a second, let's rethink this maybe. And of course, it's not going to be like, overnight change. Of course, I'm not going to wake up tomorrow and like there's going to be laws that
Fix all
stop
this.
racism. Like, what even does a law that stop racism looks like? What does that even look like?
Exactly.
Like, I know that's not going to happen, but it's the fact that these things need to start now, because they should have started right after slavery. But it's the fact that it just was ignored. It was pushed under the rug. It was continuously swept under the rug. And now that they have no choice but to pay attention, they're getting scared. They're getting a little scared. And I think that was the point we were trying to make. Like, we don't want revenge. We could want revenge, but we simply just want to be treated as a fucking citizen. That's it.
Exactly.
And one of the things that bother me so much is the fact that whenever there's a peaceful protest, it's always considered a riot. And
Mhm.
then you have people literally invading the White House and they're called protesters. Like, what the
Mhm.
fuck is going on there?
Mhm.
That
I
shit
agree.
Mhm.
is, it's like, what the fuck?
That whole thing was a mess. It was a mess, and I remember watching it with my father, because I was in my room and I heard it on the TV, and my dad was like, "What the fuck?" I
How
remember
can
his
you even, like,
reaction, like,
I don't even know how the fuck that started. Like, what the fuck?
I don't know.
How does that just happen?
It was insane, but all I heard was what the fuck, and like I was concerned. I was like, "Are you okay?" And then I see on the TV like these people just like going fucking nuts, like, and I'm like, "What the fuck?" Like, and it's it's it was it was kind of funny, and I know I shouldn't laugh at this because this is like some real shit, but it was hilarious that these like they feel oppressed, and oh my goodness, they feel oppressed, and so much to the point where they want to overthrow the government.
Yeah, that's just fucking stupid.
Like this is the same government that you said that you would like die for.
And that
Now
you
you
were
want to.
arguing that you can't. My thing is, they argued for so long that we should not be fighting against the government, that the
Oh
government's right
yeah.
no matter
Mm-hmm.
what.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's.
And then when someone says that, they get butthurt.
Mm-hmm. And they were like, you gotta support the police. You gotta, you can't fight the police. They protect you. Now it's ACAB.
Yep.
Like now you don't fuck with the police. What happened? What happened? Now you don't fuck with
Yeah.
authority.
It's
Yeah.
just such fucking bullshit. So fucking messy, dude. It's so stupid.
Listen, I think it's hilarious, and I think they're throwing a temper tantrum because they didn't get their way.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
100% what this is.
I, it's beyond me. It's above me.
That yeah. I just don't get it. I really
Mm-mm.
don't. But the last thing I really wanted to, or that at least that I had in my mind for today's episode was, now that we haven't really been hearing much about Black Lives Matter, and now that
Mhm.
all of the attention is starting to go away, what do you think is the best way that people can start doing now to bring back the attention and bring back the voice?
I truly 100% like I need people to start listening to black people and like listening to black voices. um I feel like when the protests were happening, everyone was like, yeah, we need, like, we hear you, we see you, like very performative. But I truly need people to start listening, because it's not just about police brutality. It's everything. It's fucking healthcare.
Again,
It's
it's just trying to get equal rights. That's
exactly. And
that's
I
what
feel
it is.
like the reason why these protests are dying down is because the people they were looking up to were like these celebrities, and not just any celebrities, like non-black celebrities, and they're following them. And so once the celebrities stop talking about it, they're going to stop talking about it. So
Mm-hmm.
instead of like actually like listening to like, the black individuals who were, you know, spearheading this movement and like, really running shit, they listen to the people who are following them. And now that, black people are still talking about it and still trying to get it through people's heads, they're just like, crickets. And I think the only way to kind of like bring it back and center it back is if people were to start listening to black people. I don't know how that's going to work because it's hardly worked before, but that's the only way. And until, I truly don't know, because it's like I could talk till I'm blue in the face. I can go to the top of Skidmore's tallest building with a fucking like microphone and talk about how these things are so important, and people would just walk by me.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's anywhere. And that's because they're not listening. They're it became a trend. And I feel like because we were in quarantine so long, we just learned how to follow trends. And until we realize that this is not a trend, and it's not going to get through to people. And I hate to say it, but I don't think things are going to pick up again until there's something else that happens to black people again.
Yep.
Like,
There's always someone that has to get hurt in order to
mhm.
start something.
And
Yeah,
it's
the
like,
open
why
big
even
lies.
wait? Hmm. It's like, why even wait to get to that point, you know?
I 100% agree. And like as I said, I hate to think about that because like the fact that we have to get to the point where somebody has to get hurt for people to want change is upsetting because
Hmm.
that next person, people don't, they all,
You-
it gets brought up every single time that something like this happens. People will say, oh, it's somebody's son, somebody's husband,
Hmm.
brother, yada yada yada.
Hmm.
But like it always goes through my head, well, then why don't you understand that? Because like for
Hmm.
me, I don't want it to get to the point where it's somebody I care about. I want to stop it now. But
Right.
so many people, they won't want to change it until it gets to that point, which is upsetting. Because like why should you want bad things to happen to other people, especially good people? That's
Right.
how I feel towards it.
Yeah. And it's like, and I don't know. It's like, I think that's so funny that you brought that up because it's like we all seen it coming. We all knew that, like, because it's like once something gets big, it's like it's obviously gonna die down. And we were just like, okay, how do we get people to keep that momentum? And it's hard because if people truly like don't care about it, but they like wanna be, they want to be seen as someone who's like, okay, you can trust me. I'm one of the good guys. Of course, they're gonna be a part of it, and it's devastating.
Mm-hmm.
But it's something that even if something like, even if there was another George Floyd, even if there was another Breonna Taylor, even if there was another Ahmaud Arbery, even if there was even more, and like I can name so many, and I shouldn't be able to name so many, but even if that was to happen every single week or every single day, there will be people who talk about it for a minute and stop.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because if it doesn't affect them, they don't pay attention. And I think that's the point we were trying to push to everyone. Like, it's not because they're someone's black son or someone's black daughter. It's because they are someone, they are a person, and you should be angry because they're taking a human's life,
Yeah.
regardless of their skin color.
Exactly.
But until people truly understand that Black Lives Matter is not because we think Black lives are superior. We know that. Like, we've been told that we mean shit since, the day we were born, essentially. So we can't say that we're superior. How can we say that? We're just saying that we want to be treated like humans.
Yeah, I find it really annoying how people say there are people that says all lives matter when
Mm-hmm.
if
I
you
hate
really
that.
mean that, if you really mean that, then you should be doing everything you can for Black
Mm-hmm.
Lives Matter, because if all lives truly matter, then you want everyone to be in equal grounds.
Mm-hmm. And
And
Mm-hmm.
not only
obviously
that,
that's not what we have right now.
if all lives matter, why are there children in cages?
Thank you. I was about to bring that up.
Yeah.
Why are there children
Yeah.
in cages? Why are you so anti LGBTQ? Why do you
Thank you.
allow these things to happen if all lives truly matter to you? Why do these
Mm-hmm.
things happen?
If
So it's
also,
either all lives matter or just what you consider important matters.
mm-hmm. And that's how like they don't care about all lives, they just don't fuck with Black lives. And
Yeah.
instead of just saying that, just ripping off the band-aid, they want to complicate shit and say
Mm-hmm.
all lives matter. Like, isn't that fucking obvious? That's the point we're trying to make. If all lives matter, then we shouldn't be treated like this.
Exactly.
That's the point. That you got it. Yeah, you're right. Now make it happen. All lives do matter. Now make that shit happen. Make that shit real.
Exactly.
You know?
100% agree. 100%.
It's really just a fight for equal rights. For not even equal rights, for human rights. Just like simple shit that everyone needs.
Mm-hmm.
it's just
Ridiculous.
so stupid, yeah. And the fact that shit like this is taking so long that to this day it's still a problem, just so fucking stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
But yeah, that's pretty much all I had on my list. I don't know if anyone else had like anything else to that they wanted to talk about.
I can't think of anything. If there's any other causes or anything you would like to bring up, Erica, any organizations you think are really important to get involved, if
Ooh,
you have,
yeah.
I know I'm kind of bringing this up off the top of your head, and I'm sorry for that, but if you have any thoughts or anything, please feel free to share them. We wanted to give you this platform to be able to give your organization, but also kind of tell your story. So once again, I would like to say thank you to you for coming on here.
Yeah.
No, seriously, thank you for having me. The fact that y'all wanted this conversation means a lot. That is a step, you know. Just again, what I was saying before listening. That's a step. And as far as organizations go, I can name many, but truly, it's like petitions. Like petitions are so important because it's. I noticed that when I was signing a whole bunch of petitions, like during the protests, like there were so many cases that I just didn't know about, and there were so many things that you just didn't hear about. So it's like once you start seeing those things, and you're gonna ask yourself, why is no one talking about this?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a good place to start if you just don't know. Um, a lot of social media platforms, like again, following Black people, like, and even if you can't find like like small kind of platforms, like follow some popular figures, or like you can do a quick Google search, like who is a popular figure or who is a prominent figure in the Black Lives Matter movement, and you'll get Instagrams, and then you can start following pages that they follow. Just and also kind of like don't rely too much on like your Black friends to kind of help you through everything. Google's free, and I feel like a lot of people don't realize how much like um effort they make Black people go through to kind of explain why they need this stuff to happen, if
Yes.
that makes sense.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
does.
So it's like, don't take from this conversation like I need to be more, like I need to be more aware, or I need to be more this or that, and then you go and act like the nearest Black person next to you. Like
Yeah.
that's kind of counterproductive. Like, you know
Mm-hmm.
go research, go do some shit. And that doesn't mean like you have to go to a protest, because I for one also couldn't go to protests. I have two older parents and who I was with, and I didn't want to put them in any type of danger. So I did a lot of protesting. I did a lot of calling. I did a lot of just educating myself, even just like reading books, reading articles. Keep yourself updated on what's happening and like what laws are being made. If there's no laws being made, ask yourself why, and then ask people around you why. Look up why and start some shit. Start a petition. And there's a lot that can be done. I think people kind of get stuck on what isn't being done, that they forget that they can do things too. And I think it can be as simple as just like educating yourself, because I wouldn't want someone who knows nothing about these topics talking about them, because
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
that kind of sets us back a little bit. So even
Yeah,
if you're
you're
just
you're not
like,
going anywhere with that one.
even if you're just reading an article a day, and just enough to where if someone says something to you, you can be like, wait a second, that doesn't sound right, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's like starting places. Like, no one's going to get anywhere overnight. We don't expect you to, but we do expect you to remain conscious. We do expect you to remain
Vigilant.
continuously teach yourself. Yes, exactly.
Anything further from you, Gustavo?
No, I pretty much had everything that I wanted to talk about was talked about. All of my thoughts were pretty much said.
Erica, where can people find you? If you don't mind,
In-
that's up to you.
Instagram.
Yeah,
Instagram, actually. I don't know my handle. Give me 1 second.
We didn't
No
give her time to
rush.
prepare. I forgot to mention the shout out.
So yeah, so my Instagram is Erica, but the C is an X, and underscore 244. So
And does your club Ujima have like any socials that you would like to plug or something?
yes, we do have socials. It's Ujima Skidmore. I will say though, sorry, since it is a Skidmore club, you can't really join the meetings, but you
Fair.
can look at what we're posting. We like to post things about just Black people. Recently, well, not recently, during the summer, we had like a kind of like a Pride Month thing where we featured Black LGBTQ members, or like not members, but like important figures. And so we have fun stuff like that. Sometimes we do stories where we talk about just like Black experiences on campus. And so we do fun things like that. So if you do want to check that out, you can. But you also don't be sad that you can't attend the meetings.
But
Unless
hey,
we make
maybe
it an
it'll
open
even lead to new people coming to join the school because they're interested just from the club alone.
Yeah,
So
yeah, absolutely. But it is Ujima Skidmore. So
Can you
that's,
please spell that?
yes, UJIMASKIDMORE underscore. And that's it. So if we get a whole bunch of followers, I'm gonna get a little nervous, but
Don't
um,
get nervous.
but yeah. So if you do want to follow me, I got like 8 posts. Not that I'm a very boring person actually. Plot twist. So yeah.
Erica, I think the most I've ever posted in 1 year was like 6 posts. I
No,
get
this is scattered. Like one was in 2018.
it.
I haven't posted any this year, so they're
Yeah,
scattered.
I get you. But Brian, where can the people find you?
so you can find me obviously here on my Twitch at twitch.tv/Hawkeye57, my Twitter, which is at Hawkeye57 underscore. And I actually just launched my YouTube officially. The first
Nice.
episode of Gaming with a Point went live just before this episode, and you can find that at Hawkeye Gaming on YouTube. So go check that out. And Gustavo, where can we find you?
All right. So I have my Twitch channel at the Endergames 12 and my Twitter at Real Endergames. And that's all. So I just want to say thank you, Erica. It means a
Of
lot that you
course.
showed up for this episode. And I
Thank
really,
you.
really wanted to talk about it because this is something that is also important to me. And, like I said before, there isn't really much being said about it anymore. So I do want to start having conversations and trying to do as much as I can at least.
Thank you.
But yeah, this was Gaming with a Point. And thank you for everyone that showed up and for those that will watch in the future, I guess. And eventually YouTube and other podcast sites. But yeah. Bye everyone. Bye.
Bye everyone. Thank you for showing up.